welcome to Healthy Beginnings Fitness. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into working with pregnant and postnatal ladies?
Thanks, Kim. Yeah, I'm Ali, and I think my main reason for working with pregnant and postnatal women is actually the experience I had in my own pregnancy. So I became pregnant unexpectedly, age of 40, so quite late in life, really not expecting that to happen to me, and I threw myself into the world of kind of mums and babies. So when I was pregnant, I did every class going, and really actually took it quite seriously. I was a bit sort of serious about this business. And then afterwards, I also then tried to do every class going. So I kind of was almost giving myself a background in what it took to then work with women, because I saw the best of each of those classes and those experiences. The main reason for wanting to work in the area of, sort of active birth really was because I'd attended active birth classes from very early on in pregnancy, so from around 14 weeks, and I'd gone all the way through to my actual labour. And by the time I got to my labour, all those movements, the things I'd learnt in the class were so well kind of cemented in me that it just was actually a very natural process. And so I went on to have a really positive birth experience.
So you work for the Daisy Foundation. Can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so the Daisy Foundation is actually a not-for-profit social enterprise, and it's like the umbrella company that I sort of roll up under, but I'm self-employed. So each Daisy teacher in each area is a self-employed teacher, but they really provide the kind of foundation of the training that we get, which is accredited by FEDANT, so it's a nationally recognised training, and they provide us with a lot of ongoing support. So we have access to midwives, healthcare professionals who sort of feed into that body of knowledge that we have as teachers, which is just fantastic.
I read on the website that there is a couple of different classes that you guys do. So there's the active antenatal and Daisy birthing. Like, can you tell me a bit about them?
Yeah, so actually the active antenatal method is what we do in Daisy birthing classes. So
right.
That's perhaps a bit misleading. So the active antenatal method is actually a pretty groundbreaking combination of things that you might get from different classes. So it includes elements of hypnobirthing, it includes elements of traditional antenatal education, it includes elements of movement and breathing that you might get from, say, a pregnancy yoga class, but it pulls them all together. It's like a holistic package. So I really like delivering the class because I think it covers all the bases, and actually if you're a mum who particularly likes and tunes into the hypnobirthing aspects, and that's what works for you, fantastic. If you're a mum who is more into the the physical movement side and more that yoga based stuff, it'll work for you as well. Plus we cover a different topic each week, so we actually look at the physiology of birth.
Brilliant.
And we go through week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and explain what's going to happen during labour and some of the things you can do to support that.
Excellent. Just again, for anyone that's not sure of the term hypnobirthing, can you just explain briefly what that means?
Yeah, so hypnobirthing, and I would never say that a Daisy class is a hypnobirthing class.
It's just got elements
of it. So what we tend to do is use the breath as a real anchor to your relaxation. So in birth, you're trying to achieve as much as possible a calm and relaxed state. You don't want adrenaline in the room, basically. You want to try and keep adrenaline at bay. And one of the strongest, easiest anchors to come back to is your breath. So we focus a lot on diaphragmatic deep belly breathing to get you into that nice calm mindset. We also do things like positive birth affirmations, because so much that we see in the media is so negative about birth. You almost have to reprogram yourself. Yeah. So that's another element that we've drawn in from hypnobirthing, and during relaxation sessions we'll use positive birth affirmations.
So you also work with mums in the postnatal period. Can you tell us a bit about what you do there?
Yeah, so that's actually really nice for mums that have come through the birthing class, and nice for me as well, because I obviously get to see what were bumps become babies.
Yeah.
So I run a class called Daisy Baby Tinies. And it does have some elements of baby massage in it, so we do cover a different aspect of baby massage each week. But it's a really fun movement-based class. I do lots of silly songs and movements with the babies, which are like precursors to yoga really. And they're to work on things like their vestibular development, their proprioceptive system, so just all of those things that are kind of going on for babies. And we do social baby time, so they get to and that's a lovely fun thing to do, they get them all kind of looking at one another. So it's a class that has a central element of massage in it, but it encompasses all these other things. And if I'm honest, I think the main value of it is in terms of postnatal support, because we quite often just, by virtue of coming together as a group of mums, end up talking about sleeping or feeding or issues that anyone's having, and it's a safe space where people feel that they can just come and vent.
Yeah.
You know, or
Oh yes. I've had ladies at the end of my sessions just having a cry on my shoulder because they're just exhausted and they just need to let it out, and that's what's nice about one of these types of classes, isn't it? And if your baby's screaming, everyone understands and no one's judging you, and it's I met a lady who'd been to one of your classes and postnatally, and she said the thing that really struck her was it felt like a very non-judgmental area, like say safe space. I think for new mums we can really feel like if we've chosen to bottle feed because maybe something's gone wrong and you can't breastfeed, or if you've chosen to breastfeed, we always feel like someone's looking at us and judging us. Do you kind of have a very open policy on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, my personal feeling is that everyone is trying to do their best.
Yeah. And
everyone, you know, is almost kind of desperate for that kind of seal of approval, really, from other mums, especially when you're a new mum. I had it, I felt it. And I just think we beat ourselves up so much, you know, the stuff I did that I still do with a toddler, that I think, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Because there is no rule book, there is no manual. So I think just making mums feel that they're supported in their choices, and actually the main thing you can do for a woman postnatally, the main thing you can do for anyone in life, is reassurance. Giving someone confidence in their own way of doing things and a warm, safe, supportive space in place to do that. That I thought I'm all about, and I'm really glad somebody picked up on it. So
yeah, cool. So Ali, your background is in psychology, and you specialise in postnatal women's mental health. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the most sort of stereotypical thing people have heard of is postnatal depression. So I can work with women using counselling techniques. So I'm a trained humanistic counsellor, my academic background's in psychology as well, to really work through issues that they're having, you know, post birth of a child. So it's not always just purely hormonal, and sometimes those kind of depressive feelings can be tracked back into how they were feeling during pregnancy, or it can even just trigger, you know, things to do with their own relationship with their mum, things like that, you know, that actually become quite powerful when you have a child of your own. Also relationship issues, so having a child typically puts a different dynamic into a relationship, so people quite often find they might have relationship issues. So I offer, you know, personal one-to-one counselling for women experiencing any degree of postnatal depression, but also couples counselling for people with relationship issues. But also, and more specifically I suppose, for people who have what they would describe as birth trauma, and some people's idea of trauma is quite different to others, you know, so you can't sort of say this is what trauma is, but often it is an experience that's differed from the one they had in their mind of how their birth would be. And they will come to me because they're finding that they're getting flashbacks, they're getting symptoms which are actually very similar to post-traumatic stress. So something that, you know, a soldier might report back from a battlefield actually. And I do something quite different from counselling with those people. We use something called rewind therapy, where I'm trying to get them into a really calm mindset, and we literally sort of dissociate them from the memory by getting them to think about it on a TV screen. We kind of erase and rewind, and we get it to the point where it's wired differently in the brain. It's a very simplistic way of putting it, but it no longer provokes that kind of panic, flight or fight response. And then means they can go on and live life more normally, and maybe approach a second pregnancy, as that's quite often people's reason for wanting to tackle it, is they're frightened actually of going back into that place again.
So if we've got some ladies who are Taunton based watching this video, how would they find out about your classes?
So there's a Facebook page which is personal to me, and it's the Daisy Foundation, Taunton Bridgewater, so if you did a search for that on Facebook you should be able to find it. There's also the main Daisy Foundation website, which is just thedaisyfoundation.com, And you can do a geographical search there for teachers, because there are other teachers in the local area as well, so someone over in Exeter, someone up in Weston. So people find us that way. And I also just advertise generally on NetMum, so if you were to do a Google search for Taunton antenatal classes, I probably do pop up quite high now on the page.
And how much is a block of 6?
Block of 6 is currently £54, so that works out £9 per session. And I do ask that people sign up in that block, because we run through a programme that builds, you know, week 1 through to 6. But then if women are getting close to their due date, so they're coming up to the latter stages of pregnancy, and they don't want to commit to a whole block of classes, we then go onto a pay-as-you-go basis. And I don't charge any more for pay-as-you-go, it's literally just come along and pay the £9.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Ali. I've learnt loads this afternoon, so it's been really, really great to talk to you. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, that's great, yeah.